on, friendly neighborhood old soldier. On a mild but rainy, wet, damp Monday morning, all the way from Robson County, North Carolina, the old Robco, as they like to refer to it down here. Heck of a weekend. Had a concealed carry class on Saturday. I had 3 first-time shooters, all female. And all 3 qualified. If you're in North Carolina, you go to get your concealed carry permit. Part of the requirements is you have to be able to shoot 21 out of 30 rounds at 3, 5, and 7 yards. 10 rounds at each marker. And these 3 young ladies said none of them had ever shot a handgun before a day in their life. And the others in the class were all men, and a few of them were active duty. And they qualified and they did good, but the fact that they had previous instruction in firearms for the most part, except one gentleman, and even he qualified. I'm real proud of those 3 young ladies. And that brings me to kind of what I want to talk to you about today. Knowing the laws and the rules of your state. Don't believe everything some YouTube channel out there spits out. There's one out there, I'm just going to call it out, Forgotten History. Did a post the other day on the Second Amendment, and for the most part it's very accurate until you got to the point about how North Carolina recently became a constitutional carry state. So I commented on that. Told them that no, North Carolina still requires you to have a permit to carry concealed in this state. And you do. And you do. You also have a duty to inform law enforcement if you're pulled over in this state if you're carrying concealed. Or if you're wind up in an official interaction with law enforcement while you're walking around and you're carrying concealed. You have to notify law enforcement immediately that, hey, I've got a concealed carry permit, I have my firearm, XYZ location on your person or off your body, and go from there. And then follow all commands from said mentioned law enforcement agency. Well, this distinguished gentleman from that channel, well, he decided he was gonna wrong. July 1st, they passed blase bill. No, we didn't. That bill that he's referring to from North Carolina didn't pass. It basically got tabled. There was language in the bill that some people just didn't like. Part of which was it was going to allow 18-year-olds to carry concealed. Like this, they can be drafted at 18 years of age. They should have the right to carry a firearm at 18 years of age. And I just politely informed him in a rebuttal to his post that no, that the bill basically got tabled. Still have to get the permit in this state to carry concealed, that I was a certified concealed carry instructor in this state. I've yet to hear a response back from him. I also told him every guy that gave him his information misinformed him, giving him misinformation. Part of the confusion is that bill went before the state legislature about the same time that they voted and passed and overrode the governor's veto on the removal of the purchase permit in this state. North Carolina, for the longest time, you had to have a purchase permit in order to go and buy a handgun. It was instituted during the era of Jim Crow, basically to keep minorities from obtaining handguns for their own personal protection, which is wholeheartedly unconstitutional in any shape, form, or fashion that you look at. finally, the legislature in this state finally got it put into law to remove the pistol purchase permit requirement, which meant you had to go to your local sheriff's department, fill out the paperwork, do the background check, pay the fee. Then they would call you when your permit was ready to be picked up. So you would go and get the permit, and then you had to take that permit to the gun store and present it at the time of purchase of the handgun that you wanted. And then you could make your handgun purchase. They would keep that purchase permit because it's only good for one handgun. One permit per handgun. So if I wanted to go buy 10 handguns, they'd go get 10 purchase permits. Well, some of the county sheriff's departments around here started limiting the number of purchase permits you could get in a month. The sad part about handgun fire, now anybody can go to a gun store here in North Carolina as long as they're of age to buy a handgun, which is still 21. That's the other part. North Carolina's open carry law, states anyone 18 years of age or older. Y'all stand by, I gotta take a phone call. All right, folks, I'm back. My son was calling in and giving me some information about something. Anyway, folks, back to what I was saying. Now in North Carolina, you can go buy a pistol as long as you're 21 years of age and meet all other legal qualifications in order to purchase a handgun. But if you're 18, you can't buy a handgun. But by North Carolina's laws, if you're 18, you can open carry a handgun. So a lot of people ask, well, how can an 18-year-old go get a handgun? So when they were trying to pass the constitutional carry amendment here in North Carolina, or bill, whatever you want to call it, to allow North Carolina constitutional carry open or concealed, that was one of the points of contention, was 18-year-olds being able to carry concealed. Now I will say this: there are other states that are already concealed carry states that allow 18-year-olds to carry concealed without a permit of any sort. And I talked about this before in a previous video some months ago. My feelings on this, and part of me is conflicted. It really is. And I say that to say this: yes, in the United States of America, our Second Amendment's a guaranteed right. However, the states, many of which have imposed extreme, if not draconian, tyrannical restrictions on the ability of our fellow Americans to arm themselves, to protect themselves. Not just from thugs and hood rats on the street, but to home invaders, to road rage crazies, but even more so a tyrannical government that keeps imposing more communistic measures and laws upon us. Eventually it's going to come to a head here, folks. I just believe it's just going to. Long story short, again, back to this bill, is that, that was what kept it from being really pushed through, was that still many here in the state of North Carolina feel that 18, you're not responsible enough to carry a handgun concealed. Opponents to that argue, well, you allow them to carry open in this state. Yeah, but you can't go buy a gun at that age. Well, not true. They can go buy a long gun at 18 years of age, but you can't buy a handgun. I could be wrong about this one, but I'm pretty sure that if they are gifted a handgun at 18, they can legally own it. They just can't go buy one. When I say legally gifted, I think it's got to come from a parent. Don't quote me on that. But the reality of the matter is this, though. Again, back to where I feel conflicted. While I agree there should be no obstructions for anyone to carry open or concealed, and I don't like to use the word mandate. I don't like to use the word it must happen in order to. So I will just rephrase what I feel into this, that if you are going to carry a firearm, a handgun on your person at any given time, concealed or open, on your nightstand just for home defense, you need to go get training. Let me be very clear about that. You need to go get training. So if I was king for a day, my solution would be to reintroduce gun safety back into the public school system, starting at the junior high, or well, most places now call it middle school. All right. And it would involve 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grades minimum. At least one class per semester addressing the various aspects of firearm and handgun safety. Then your senior year, you have the option to take a concealed carry class. If you don't, then you got to wait till you're 21 after you graduate high school. But if you take it at 18 while you're in high school, that's just my opinion. And again, my opinion, folks. I'm not saying anything of fact or any kind of crazy law. That's just my opinion on how to solve that without making a mandatory requirement for training. But I wholeheartedly believe firearm safety needs to be reintroduced back into school. In order to teach these young people the importance of firearm training. Okay? Firearm is a tool, not a toy. And so, back to the beginning of where this all started, I just had to politely inform that gentleman that, no, we're still required to have a concealed carry permit in this state to carry concealed. And failure to do so can result in a class 2 misdemeanor if you're caught carrying concealed without your permit. So, I want to clear the air on that, let people know. And some of my viewers that are here in North Carolina, that might have been confused about the whole purchase permit deal versus the concealed carry bill. Now you know. Now you know. Because that whole thing, because it happened so close to each other, it created a lot of confusion. And I think the communists on the left side of the state allowed it to happen that way to create that confusion. Again, that's an opinion and a speculation. It's not fact. So, you YouTube auditors, because, y'all look for buzzwords to shut channels down, like, COVID is just a regular virus. We all know it's a Chinese bioweapon that the Chinese introduced to the United States, but, we don't have full-blown evidence that that's what happened, but we all know it came from China. Likewise, masks don't work, even though for 2 years they told us they worked, but the CDC has finally come back and said that masks were really not effective, and neither is the jabby jab stabby stab vacky vac vaccine. And if YouTube, you don't like it, you can kiss my sphincter muscle in the center with a sucking motion until you get a displeasant taste in your mouth. Not safe for work or children. Gave you a forewarning. But anyway, it's for you, Brother Kyle. I hope everybody has a great start to their week. Me, not so much. I'm going to see the cardiologist. Nope, just nothing wrong, folks. Just want to get some things checked out just to make sure nothing's wrong. Probably like last time, Mr. Linebarger, you're just a extra grindy fat rear end dude that needs to get up off his butt more often and walk more. But going to get checked out anyway. With this heat, the shortness, I've been having some shortness of breath working in the heat. That's probably what it is, but family of heart disease and heart illness, better safe than sorry. Anyway, boys and girls and boys of all ages, This is your friendly neighborhood old soldier. Stay safe, stay vigilant. Keep your eyes open, your neck on a swivel. Until we meet again, my friends, it's the old soldier out.